loves, welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I'm Monica, the Kismet Chemist. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the family. It's an honor to have you. If you're returning, welcome back. I have missed you. I apologize if I'm loud right now. I'm sitting kind of close to the mic. I explain this stuff and I apologize about this stuff because I want to make it perfect. And there's literally nothing in the world that is perfect, while everything in the world is perfect. And it's very hard to grasp that. We are going to do a little bit of cleansing first. If you guys can't tell, there is a lot of energy moving right now. It's very intense. It's very powerful. It overwhelmed me. It overwhelmed my daughter. She came upstairs this morning and she was having the worst hair day. She didn't sleep last night more than like 15 minutes. She had a severe head trauma this weekend. And so we've been adjusting to a lot of things. And then Saturday afternoon rolls around and we're in the middle of this new moon in Virgo energy, this new black moon in Virgo energy, the first of two, closing out a 19-year phase. And all of a sudden, this very, very, very real, tangible event occurs. Now, it's a very personal event, so I'm not going to get into the details of it. But what I will say is that situation, that event that occurred on Saturday in my family's living room, was something that my husband and I have talked about, that my kids and I have talked about, that my therapist and I have talked about, my mom and I have talked about, my doctor and I have talked about. We've been talking about the desire for that exact specific event to occur for at least the past 5 years, if not the last 10 years. As recently as March and Pisces season this calendar year, I have talked to my husband about wanting to have a conversation and have that conversation be with a specific person, and having put that desire and possible situation into a category labeled impossible. Not improbable, not unlikely, impossible. As in, this would never happen in a million years. This is not going to be the situation in my life. So I must accept the fact that this is not going to happen. There's no way to make this happen. Accept the fact that that is the situation and walk away. Let it go. Find a way to make it okay within myself to carry all these things that I want to say and know that I can't say it. Accept the necessary silence. And then Saturday rolls around and the new moon is here. And that new moon was literally about closing huge, massive chapters that span from 2006 to 2025, closing doors in huge ways in areas of our life, and allowing ourselves to accept that we are going to be stepping into some mysterious, unknown, new present, new path, new future, new whatever. I had an entire new moon reading planned for you guys. I even filmed the intro. I have pile one set up on a different desk in a different location for filming that will not be filmed. That reading, the energy of it has already shifted in such profound ways that the reading has been rendered. It's not that it's inaccurate. It's just that in continuing on that path, in that reading, I would be doing you all a disservice because it's closed. There's genuine closure around what that reading was meant to be. And had I gotten it out earlier, maybe it would have helped, but it would have helped only in the sense of giving you guys a heads up. And I feel very strongly like if you are resonating with this unintended introduction message, if you're resonating with any of this in application to different things in your life, then we've all stepped into a world in which we have stated that's impossible. And now we're living that as a reality. Everything that we've listed as impossible is now a reality. And genuine closure has been found surrounding the past. And I tell you what, I still haven't navigated through the emotional and mental reflection of all of the things that have now found a closed door, because it was something that I had said was impossible. 10 years of impossibility, even longer than that. So this reading, we're going to be addressing what this kind of like, what's going on energy. We're going to do some cleansing. We're going to do some clearing. We are going to essentially let spirit talk. Now I am working with J. Edward Neal's card decks. I love his work. He puts a lot of time and energy and thought and emotion and purpose and intention into his cards, into his creations, into the artwork, the messages, all of it. And then at the same time, there is this fusion in it of make it your own kind of energy. So, and I've spoken with him a few times via Messenger, and he's just a very genuine artist, very genuine creator, very genuine person following his path, following his truth. That's the energy here that we're being called to. That's why these cards were like, let's go right now. Usually when I am setting up for a reading, I need to sit with the energy before I can find the cards. And there are times where I will think that a deck is right and then have to put that deck away because suddenly it isn't the right deck. And there's a lot of time and energy that goes into connecting with the right cards that are calling for the reading and wanting to work together. That was not the case today. And it's not because it's all the same creator. It is because the message is in these cards and it's so definitive, so exact and ready that it just is there. So I'm going to ring the bell 3 times. For each ring, I want you to think about a cleansing and clearing of first, your mind, second, your heart, third, your energy. This way we can all work together to cleanse and clear all of the energy within the collective of this channel and the community at this channel. But also it spans out, it ripples out. Even if it doesn't go out through this channel itself to other people, each and every one of you, when you engage in this, you go out into the world and you interact with other people and you impact their world. And as you impact their world, it ripples out into impact all over the place, way more than we may realize. When we do that and we're in this positive, clear energy, this trusting energy, we're infusing more and more of that in a chaotic time, in an uncertain time, in a time in which the impossible is now the reality. So let's go ahead and do the cleansing. Remember, first we're going to do the cleansing of the mind. Now the cleansing of the heart. And if you are so called in an environment in which you can, when we do the cleansing of the energy, I encourage you to take a deep breath in and an audible exhale. So let's do that now. All right. Now I'm going to use my singing bowl. I wanted to call it a sound bowl for some reason. That's interesting. I'm going to use my singing bowl. I'm a little rusty. It's been a while, so please bear with me. Okay. Wow. We are all about the thoroughness. Apparently, we're going to put some Palo Santo in there too. I was not planning on this. I've been looking at my Palo Santo, my spare Palo Santo sticks, because I moved the other one that we have been using on this channel into my other room because I intended to film in there. It's much quieter. There's less lighting issues, sound issues, what have you. But I normally film out here at night. But there was something very, very, very profoundly, overwhelmingly strong in the energy today, this morning. And it is morning, 10:11 where I'm at, that was like, nope, this is what we're doing. So that's really neat. That is not what that hand is intended for, but we're going to go with it. Right. I'm going to move these boxes out of the way. Let's start with the ravens. Can we have some context here, Spirit? Wow. Thank you. Companions. Okay. Interesting. I can't. Oh my goodness. Give me a moment, guys. Willow is asking to come in. Guys. Holy shitballs. I don't even know where this message paused. I think you guys probably heard me take Willow out and then be like, oh, yeah, thanks. And then pause. I don't know what happened. What a crazy thing. Okay. Well, guys, we manifested the impossible. We're gonna there's something in the air. It is swords. Like we're trapping ourselves. What the heck? From the Four of Wands. We're trapping ourselves from happiness. Right? Because we're stuck. There's some sort of pause. Okay. Honestly, I have no idea. I think I did the intro portion of it. And then when I pulled the cards, you guys probably didn't see me pull any of the cards. I'll be damned. All right. You know, I could get really upset about that. And I'm sitting here with you guys like, you may find this to be the most purposeless reading ever. Or you might be like, holy shit. Monica's on one today. Maybe. I don't know. Guys, this is what real life looks like. Honestly, like this is what real life for me looks like. It looks like me trying, and there are times where I stumble times when things don't work out, don't make sense, don't pan out. And then you just reset. You just reset. You do it again. You try it again. The other cards, I think, the message was so personal that I honestly, like, and to me, like, to help me understand what happened for me. So maybe it was just my situation. Who knows? What I do know is there's something that we don't necessarily see. We don't necessarily know. I just saw the tarot card and I saw fearless. So are we afraid or are we fearless? And fearless is not always a good thing. Sometimes fear teaches us something very important. Fearlessness can create recklessness. Reckless disregard for the self and others is not. I don't know. I don't know what it's not. There's something, it just isn't. This is so weird, you guys. This is so weird. This is like the weirdest thing ever. I don't have any idea what's going on with this stuff. Oh my gosh. I mean, oh my God. I literally just said, I don't know what's going on. Don't know what this is. We're starting anew right now. Okay. Let's talk new beginning. Let's talk the shadow. What is beginning anew in the shadow? Grief. Is grief starting? A reversal of grief through remembrance. I'm not going to lie. Grief is like one of the number one. There was a companions card up here. Grief is one of the number one companions of my life. I think Tyler Henry said it so beautifully when he talked about how navigating grief is essentially, it's a relationship. We don't move out of grief. We don't move beyond grief. It's a relationship that we have. We have this new relationship with grief. It doesn't ever go away. It changes form. It changes intensity. But once grief is experienced, it becomes a part of the psyche or a part of the compendium of things that we carry with us. So it becomes a companion. And we can look at it in that way as though it is a guide to us. Or we can view grief as something that causes harm, causes pain, or as something that we just want to get away from. And that's understandable. We can want to get away from it forever. Like, we can run from our grief, but sometimes our grief is there because it's time to flip things upside down. It's time to remember parts of ourselves that we've forgotten. And when we lose ourselves in certain things or dynamics or relationships or jobs or what have you, when we lose ourselves in those things and then those things are lost, we lose ourselves because we allowed those things to become us. With this new beginning, there is this opportunity to have this reversal of what was lost in the grief, the parts of ourselves that we lost in the grief, the parts of ourselves that we sacrificed so that we wouldn't have to fully feel the grief. There is a remembrance of who we are. Whoa. hold that thought. There was a card that somehow had fallen and sat next to me. The manifestation card. This is why. When we remember the parts of ourselves that we've forgotten and we reverse the sacrifices of truth and authenticity and purpose and meaning, when we reverse those, we're giving new life to what has died, to what has been formed in grief. The roots of grief become the lifeblood of our manifestation. And it comes into being because it's formed from our emotions, from our authentic, genuine, deep, heartfelt emotions. This necessary remembrance of who we are and what we're here for. So what's the insight? What's the insight that we gained? A recent insight gained. Talisman and creation. In what context? The divine. Talismans are seen as objects that are there to protect us or that we put an intention into to help with things like manifestation. When I see the divine and I see the Fool, there's an energy here of what is to come with Uranus's transit through Gemini. Because with Gemini, I always think of the divine because I think about the nature of the twins and how it's a point in which we feel as though we are separated from our own divinity because the twins represent the two forms of ourselves, our divine form and our physical form. But in reality, we are both those things. This raven is holding a raven talisman. The intention and the energy put into that talisman could be seen as a separate thing, but the intention and the energy put into it in its creation for its purpose was quite literally created by the raven itself. Therefore, they are one and the same. And if you look here, you have the talisman, and it is the same form of this creation. So in order to understand the way that we manifest, it's to understand that we have our own divinity. We're not separated. There's not a single thing that is separated, even though it feels that way. We can feel like, okay, again, with a personal thing. And I literally just checked my computer to make sure that I'm still, like the camera is still rolling. Okay. I had this huge revelation last night. I was watching Roseology's newest collective reading, and she was talking about situations that we stay in for too long, that we stay in while we're being depleted or while we're putting in more than what we're getting out. Things that have us feeling like we're in Five of Swords situations. We're always having to mediate. We're always having to appease. We're always having to accept the fact that there will always be pain. There will always be anguish. There will always be loss. And we have to do that in order to just navigate the world. And how we're realizing the ways in which we prolong these things by not extracting ourselves from it. And I was thinking about what she was saying in context of my own life and realizing that a lot of the times we project a lot onto a situation. I'm in this relationship for too long. I'm at this job for too long. I'm living in this place for too long. I am unhappy because I have prolonged this necessity of destruction, this necessity of walking away. But it's not always about that. Sometimes it's about the way in which we navigate our way through the situations that arise. My husband and I do not have a perfect marriage by any standards, but we have the perfect marriage for us. We have a relationship that I have dreamed of. And in the past, I used to present our relationship in a certain way because I wanted it to be that way all the time when it wasn't. And then I'd get ashamed because behind closed doors, we were having issues. Until I realized that it didn't matter what happens in the eyes of the outside world. What matters is what happens within our hearts when we're together, when we're navigating these things. So I would react in a certain way to certain situations that he and I would face. And a lot of the times my reactions were anger, standoffishness, or I would pull away. It took me years to feel safe enough to show him my grief, my wounds, my pains, the way that I was being hurt, why I was being hurt, the way that certain actions impacted me. And there is an acknowledgement of allowance of those things to impact me. But there is also an understanding of why. And when we choose to take that step into something that we think is impossible, when we choose to say, okay, I'm going to show you my pain instead of show you my anger. I'm going to show you my empathy instead of showing you my coldness and disconnect. I'm going to show you compassion instead of conviction. When we do that and we give that to a situation, we have begun something brand new. And a lot of the times we're in this situation of life that is like a choose your own adventure. Every choice that we make is going to lead us to an ultimate happy ending, or it's going to bring us to ruin, to restart, to doing it again. And we have to make different choices at some point, but it's recognizing what choices we've made that are the right choices to make and which ones are not serving. And when I say not serving, I mean, they're not helping us. We're not healing through them. When we're making genuine choices of forgiveness, of healing, of compassion, of empathy, of love, unconditional love, when we're making choices out of an unconditionally loving state, a state that allows others fallibility and forgiveness, because we allow ourselves fallibility and forgiveness, what we're doing in those times in our own healing is we're actually facilitating healing for a lot of other people in a lot of bigger ways that we don't necessarily see. So yes, it can be hard to make the choices of vulnerability, of intimacy, of honesty and transparency. Those are really challenging things. They're very hard. But what if we didn't need to create some form of protection because we can accept the fact that because we're divine, we are divinely connected, divinely protected, that we can remember what it's like to be in that state, and we can actually connect to one another in a completely different way. Sometimes we go through really great challenges and hardships and knockdowns and blockages, and we repeat and repeat and repeat and never really have this full moment, never really have this new beginning, never have this leap into something new, because we are consistently and continually operating in the same mode of believing the impossible to be exactly that, impossible. Even though I said that situation in my past was impossible, that I found myself in a state of reality, when I said it at the same time, I knew that if it was meant to happen, that it would be facilitated by divine means in whatever way, in whatever time was right, and I would meet it with integrity, with authenticity. And I did. That's what we're called to do right now. And that can feel really uncomfortable. It can feel really uncomfortable. Why? Because what we don't see is that in this new beginning, our shadow is saying, but wait, remember this? Remember this time that we went through? Remember when we were stabbed in the back? Remember when we were hurt? Remember when we were deceived? Remember when we were betrayed? Remember when our world collapsed all around us and we were destroyed in so many ways? And those scars aren't seen. Those wounds weren't seen. The blood pouring from us that we could feel every day in every way, every movement that we made, we could feel those pains as though every bone in our body was broken, but nobody could see it because it wasn't actually physical. It was spiritual pain. It was emotional pain. It was mental pain. Remember those times. Remember what it took from us. Remember how it left us rotting away in grief with no hope for a new beginning. Remember that. Don't do this because this could happen. So our shadows are so scared. There is such fear in this energy because of very real, visceral pain. Pain that made us forget anything in the realm of possibility. It wasn't just things being relegated to being impossible. It was like a blackness hit. Some pain, some wound, some hurt we don't go back from. And we don't go back. We move forward. And we remember the pains. But that remembrance isn't to hold on to the fear. It's not to hold on to that terror. And it's not to be brazenly fearless. It's to recognize that because we've gone through it, we know how to protect ourselves from it by honoring ourselves, by honoring the things that we have built, from reversing the wounds, from taking that blood that was poured out of us and making it into a life force in and of itself for moving forward. So now we're at that cusp, we're at that door, or we have walked through it. Some of us are cusped, some of us are, and we're in this new place. So let's find out the guidance moving forward. The Alchemist, the Poet, and Terror. Take this fear. Take this fear. Search within yourself. It's right there. It's tangible. This fear that grief will always be. And recognize that when we remember, we pull them all in together. And I'm getting this kind of energy of a blood moon, which we are having another blood moon September 7th, which is the full moon in Pisces, a total lunar eclipse, blood moon, one of the longest since 2022. It's like, for the full duration, I think it's 5 hours and 27 minutes. It is going to be visible to anywhere from 72 to 86% of the population of humanity on the earth. It's literally like the North America, South America strip that won't see it, but Alaska will be in that path to be able to see it. So Perhaps there's something with blood moons that you may want to look into, just because I'm pulling that. But the things that we remember, we are now putting into our creative juices. We're using these to alchemize. We're turning them into something different. We're turning them into the stories, the songs, the sagas, the lessons of the past. We don't have to keep looking anymore because we now remember. We understand our own divinity because our new beginning is here. So this terror that we are now fully aware of, that terror that we've been holding on to, that terror that's gripped us, tormented us, left us seeking, perpetually seeking, never accepting the fact that we don't really need to seek it because it's right here. It's right here. We're now able to take and turn it into beauty, to create a beautiful, divine honoring of it, alchemizing two parts to bring them into a central point within ourselves, holding our power in our hands and recognizing that our hearts are ready. Our hearts are ready. Flight, crossroads, and sun. Our hearts are ready to rush on the path that is right for us, to face these fears, these worries, these concerns, these perpetual points of what do I do? Where do I go? I have all these options. What is the right path? By following the light. I honor the moon in so many ways. And I've found that when I do that, I tend to overlook the power of the sun, because too often in spirituality and astrology and whatever, we call the sun the ego. And then we hear vilification of the ego and how we have to kill the ego and go through all of these things. But the ego is the persona. It's the for lack of better words, it's the meat suit. It's who we are in each incarnation. It's the chosen persona of the soul. So your ego is you. My ego is Monica. And Monica is here. And Monica is the expression, the embodiment of my soul, which is more than just my name in this life. And so embracing that light, that truth of who we are, that sun, that ego point, embracing it as part of this journey and realizing that that's the part that when we heal, we step into. Our divinity is entwined with our ego. It's about being healthy in both. It's about recognizing the nature that true empowerment is sacrifice without toxicity. It is release without lack. It is fear without terror. It's grief without forgetting. It's creating, alchemizing, and manifesting the life that we desire, the life we have searched for. Who you are. Others may have said, it's impossible. They're not really like that. But we're now living in the reality that we said was impossible, which means people are able to see you And so now is the time to step into who you truly are and be who you truly are. And know that no matter what these pains were in the past, the grief, the pain, the anguish, the betrayal, the trauma, we can remember it, but we can also hold space for a greater level of awareness, empathy, compassion without sacrificing our truest path. It's forgiveness through divinity. And I wish I could help explain that better in a way that helped you recognize the power of forgiveness in its form, in its expression, in its embodiment. I wish I could, but even having other people try and do that for me, I didn't understand it myself until I experienced it. And I would not ever want to I truly intend to be here to give you confirmation. Therefore, your experiences matter more than my own personal understandings. Your path and your voice and your truth and your story matters more. Some things are for experiencing. It's time to trust the leap. There's new here. We brought it into being individually and collectively. We brought it into being, and therefore it shall be. Therefore it is. It is as it has always been. Destined for now. So my loves, that is the message for you guys. That the reality of impossibility is here. And I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to your guides, my guides, the Great Spirit. Thank you for connecting these energies and allowing these messages to flow through to reach those that it is meant for, and for all the ways of its incredible authenticity, even through the missteps. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, my loves. If you guys enjoyed this and you want to support my channel, do those YouTubey things. If you don't want to do those YouTubey things, cool. Okay. I will see you guys at my next reading then. If you do those YouTubey things, cool. Okay. I will also see you at my next reading. I love you guys. Remember, every choice that you make is a choice that's for your life. So make your choices for you, not for anybody else. I love you all. Bye. Bye.